What's up, bucket listers? Welcome back to the channel. So I am Tori and I'm the creator of this channel. So today is going to be my first price breakdown video, and I'm also going to kind of explain a little bit about my channel since this is the first time that I'm getting to actually talk to you guys about it. So I'm gonna kind of explain the channel, my purpose, and then we can get into the price breakdown. So first off, obviously the channel is called Bucketlisters, so it's mainly about, well, not mainly, but I started it in inspiration of me checking things off of my bucket list and just showing you guys the things that I'm doing, inspiring people to try those things and just to live life to the fullest. So that's my main goal. That's pretty much what I am showcasing here. But I also want to be able to show you guys just an overview of the area, a great, beautiful, spectacular place that I went to. So I'm gonna do the second video as an overview of the entire place that I stayed. And then the third video will be a price breakdown. Now, some places, if they have a lot of interesting things, or if I was able to do more than one bucket list idea, I may have more than 3 videos, but typically each place is gonna have 3 videos. So this is the third, where I'm gonna break down how much I spent in Kauai. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I spent so you can kind of get an idea of what you're gonna spend if you wanna go there. So I'll get into that, but let me just explain a little bit about myself. So like I said, my name is Tori. My full name is actually Toriana, but I go by Tori. So I actually had a very rough upbringing. I was pretty much in survival mode from day one until I was about, I don't even know, maybe 21 years old is when I started making a good salary and really was able to comfortably live on my own. So I worked really hard. I really just had that work ethic of I was not going to be broke. I was not going to be going through hard times anymore. So I really just focused on my career and working myself up ladders and getting myself promotions and making more. And then I looked at myself one day and I was like, okay, I'm making a really good salary. I have a great job. I have a nice house, but I want to travel. That's what my dream is to travel the world. I really, eventually, when I start doing international travel, I want to show you guys different cultures. I want to do interviews with people that have lived in those countries their entire lives. You know, there's a lot more things I want to do with this once I'm able to expand it. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. If you want to know more, you can definitely comment below and let me know. I can always do an additional video on myself if you guys want to see that. If you don't care, cool, me either. So I will get into Kauai's price breakdown. Now, with going to Kauai, I flew Southwest, and you'll probably hear me say that on about at least 80%, I would say, of my trips. I try to fly Southwest. If it's domestic, they don't fly a lot internationally. They don't have a ton of options, so I really love using them if I'm just going to another state. That's really my favorite airline right now. Main reason is just because when you see the price, that's baggage included, that's seats included, everything's included, and you can just go. And I love that. I love not having to think about, well, okay, I'm going to Hawaii, am I gonna need a carry-on and a checked bag or just a checked bag? I don't like thinking about all that. Southwest just includes it all. You get 2 checked bags, you get a carry-on and a personal item. Pretty much you get as much space as you could possibly need, unless you're going somewhere for a really long time, of course. But anywho, so we flew Southwest, and my biggest tip I can give you is that when you are planning a vacation, this is gonna sound backwards, but try not to set your heart on a location before you've decided anything else. Really try to be flexible about that location and even flexible about the dates if you can, just because that's gonna make you be able to see options that are gonna be cheaper for you and not break the bank. And that's gonna really help you be able to travel more. So try to do that if you can. So the reason I actually booked a flight to Kauai is because Southwest emailed me and said, hey, we have 40% off flights to Hawaii, not just Kauai, all the islands, they had 40% off flights. So yeah, I went crazy. I booked it that night, okay? They emailed me 40% off. I started looking at the flights. It was insane. So I ended up paying $684.60 for the flights. Now, that was for 2 people, round trip, all that baggage I just talked about, unassigned seats, everything included, $684. That may seem a little pricey, but actually for Hawaii, that's a really good price. So that was great. Always look for Southwest sales. They typically start on Tuesdays. They usually last till Thursdays. Not every week, but they have sales pretty often, so try to look for those. They have an amazing system set up now for Hawaii, not only just getting you to Hawaii, but also flying between islands. Southwest has really taken over the market down there, so a lot of great options for flights that you can do with them. Now, I chose to stay in an Airbnb. This was my first time to Hawaii, and I wanted to go there all my life, so I really wanted to make it an experience. So I made sure to book an Airbnb or a condo that was on the water. That was a huge deal to me. I wanted it to be a stunning view all day, every day. So I ended up getting just a 1-bedroom condo that had a full kitchen, had a living room, had a patio, and the total price that I paid was $2,895.44. So that seems like a lot. And I will tell you that I didn't pick the cheapest Airbnb. I also didn't pick the most expensive. So I would say for a 1-bedroom condo on the ocean, that's probably about as cheap as you're gonna get it. Now, if you just want a condo in general, you could probably find a place for $1,500, but it goes all the way up. I mean, the price range doesn't stop. There's no max on it, I'll tell you that. So amazing places you can stay, beautiful views, but it all depends on what you're trying to do while you're there, how much money you have to spend, to work with, so always up to you. Definitely a hotel is going to be the cheapest way to go. Staying in a hotel room is going to save you a ton of money when it comes to that. So if you're really looking to do this on a budget, I would suggest looking at Priceline or any of the other, Expedia, Trivago, any of the other apps that help you find cheap deals or good deals. Also, another tip, if you book with Priceline several times, if you continue to use them, they do bump you up to a VIP and then a VIP Gold, VIP Platinum, whatever all the different things are. And that also gets you additional discounts. Sometimes I find really good deals on there, even better than like employee discounts at hotels. So definitely I recommend Priceline, using that and just checking out the overall area. Now, as far as food goes in Hawaii, we, like I said, booked an Airbnb, so we had a full kitchen. So we really tried to cook in-house. I know that a lot of people like to go and get the, the cuisine of the place that they're at. That's all great. I do like to do that every now and again. But if I'm gonna have an Airbnb, that's how I'm gonna save my money. I'm gonna spend more on the place, save more on the money, on the food. So that's kind of how we got away with that. Now, the other excursion that we did, like I said, we did a Cessna tour or a plane ride. It was just a small plane. It was 2 people and the pilot, and that ended up costing us $328.60. Now, that's a pretty good price, actually. If you're gonna take a helicopter tour, it starts at about $400. Now, like I said, this is only a 2-person plane, so if you're going with more than 2 people, it's going to cost you more because you're going to be renting out their larger plane. So we flew with Wings over Kauai. They have 2 different planes. They have the small one and then they have a bigger one. I think it seats up to 6 or 8 people, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Check that for yourself. So I think that was an amazing way to see the island. I absolutely loved it. That was one of the last days we were there, so I had been driving all around the island, but seeing it from the sky was a whole different experience. And then we got to see the Nepali coast, which is a hard area to get to. You really can only go by boat, by seeing it above from plane, or if you're like an experienced hiker and you're willing to do about 15 miles and maybe even stay the night there. So if you're into all that, hike there, great. Me, not so much. Excuse Nikolai here. So anyway, if you watch my overview video, you'll see a lot of other things we did. We got to see a cool cave, we did snorkeling, of course, on both the North Shore and the South Shore. So a lot of different activities. There's also the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, which is on Kauai. So that was amazing to see. So a lot of things to see there, a lot of hiking, a lot of outdoor activities. So that's really what it's all about in Kauai. If you're more of a nightclub, shopping, then go see the beach and dip your toes in the sand, maybe look into another island. So look into that, look into all the islands, look at what they all basically, I mean, they're all stunning, of course, but they all kind of have their different things that bring you there. So just kind of look into that, figure out first which island is really going to be the best for you. I think Kauai is amazing because it's known as the Garden Isle. It is for nature lovers. It's for people that love to do outdoor activities. So that's why I chose it. But of course, choose what's best for you. That's really all that I have. I will say that there are other things that you can do other than plane rides. Of course, you can do sailing, boat tours where you do fishing, maybe snorkeling. You can also do kayaking down the rivers or kayaking in the ocean. So for kayaking, the tours, like a guided tour, starts at about $120. I would say anywhere from that to $200 per person. Now, if you just want to jump in the river, you've been on a kayak before, you don't need somebody to guide you, go rent a kayak for about 35 bucks. It's really not too bad. Now, for the boat tours, they're a little bit more expensive because they usually entail lunch, maybe your fishing license and your fishing gear. They may have your snorkeling gear, different things like that. Some of the boat tours even that go to the Nepali coast actually camp there. They stay overnight. So those tours are pretty pricey. I would say for a normal snorkeling, fishing boat tour, you're going to be spending about $200 to $400 per person. So the activities there are kind of expensive. That's why I say stick to one big excursion idea like that, and then maybe just sprinkle in hiking, snorkeling, things on your own. I can actually show you, after this, I'll show you the masks that we bought from Amazon actually. So we bought some snorkeling masks from Amazon that worked really well and they were pretty cheap. I'll give you pricing and everything on that in a little bit. So just order your own stuff, go snorkeling. You don't need somebody to guide you. I mean, if you want somebody to take you on a cool, hiking trail that takes you down to the ocean and then help you snorkel, then yeah, you want a guide. But if you just want to go snorkeling, you can just buy your own Amazon mask and jump in the water off of any beach. So with that, I will say, make sure you're being safe. Kauai, or Hawaii in general, has very strong waves, very strong ocean water. So even if you're only ankle deep in the water, you actually can get pulled all the way out to sea. So be very careful. If you check the weather reports, usually the lifeguards have posted what the waves are looking like that morning, what shore would be best to swim on. So just make sure you're looking into all of that every day, and that way you can be safe and not die. But anywho, so I'll kind of get into the masks and all of that, and I'll show you everything else here in just a second.
Okay, so this is the Hawaiian Islands. In the top corner over here, you'll see that is where Kauai is. It does not have any active volcanoes, just so you know. Princeville up at the top here is where we stayed. And then in the southeast corner is Lihue, where the airport is. Now, over on the west side of the island is where the famous Nepali coast is. That's where the road ends, and you pretty much have to get to it by foot, air, or boat. Now, these are the snorkeling masks that we purchased from Amazon, just so you could see those. And I wanted to include this map as well. It shows you all of the little things that you can do or things to see in the area. So it gives you a good overview of all the places that I may have shown in the video or some places that you may want to check out. That is all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you can come back next Thursday and see where I go next to check things off of my bucket list.